Okay, so Australia's housing market right now, it's a wild story. This isn't just about prices going up. No, it's more like a massive tug of war, with these huge, powerful forces pulling the market in totally opposite directions. So let's get into it and see which side is actually winning.
At first glance, you'd think things are just booming, right? In November, national home values jumped another 1%. And that's not a blip on the radar, it's the third month in a row we've seen growth that strong. The market is definitely running hot.
But, and this is where it gets interesting, that 1% growth, it's actually a slowdown. It's a little less than the 1.1% we saw the month before. Now, I know, that seems like a tiny change, but it's a really clear signal that some of those powerful headwinds are starting to bite. So, what's causing this drag?
Right, let's talk about the headwinds first. These are the forces trying to cool the whole thing down. And believe me, there's some serious obstacles popping up that are making it way, way harder for prices to keep shooting up like they have been. First up, the big one, affordability. This number, 8.2, is a national record. And what it means is that the median home in Australia now costs 8.2 times the annual pre-tax income for a typical household. To put it simply, homes have never been this expensive compared to what people actually earn. And here's what that looks like in the real world. To pay off a new mortgage on one of these median-priced homes, it now takes a jaw-dropping 45% of a household's income before tax. We're talking about near-record levels of mortgage stress before you even get the keys.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Tim Lawless, who's the research director over at Compilatality, puts it plainly. He says, when affordability gets this stretched, banks just can't lend as much money to as many people. That barrier to getting into the market is just getting higher and higher.
So you see, it's not just one thing. It's this perfect storm of record unaffordability, the growing feeling that interest rates aren't dropping anytime soon, the general cost of living biting everyone, and even new rules from the banking regulator, APRA, making it harder to get credit. These are some seriously strong brakes being slammed on.
But hold on, that's only half the story. On the other side of this tug-of-war, you've got the tailwinds, these incredibly powerful and stubborn forces that just keep pushing prices up no matter what.
And this really shows you the conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the brakes, this crazy unaffordability and worries about interest rates. And on the other, you've got the accelerators, a chronic shortage of houses and a huge surge in demand from investors. It's a genuine deadlock.
And when you really dig into these accelerators, man, you see just how strong they are. The number of houses for sale in our capital cities, it's sitting more than 16% below the 5-year average. At the exact same time, investors are borrowing money at the fastest rate we've seen in over a decade, and government incentives are tempting first home buyers in. It's all just pouring fuel on the fire.
So who's actually winning this tug-of-war right now? Well, Tim Lawless gives us the answer pretty clearly. He says that even with this affordability crisis, the tailwinds, especially that low supply, are winning. The forces pushing prices up are, for now, stronger than the ones trying to pull them back down.
Now, this battle isn't playing out the same way all over the country. The result of this national tug-of-war is creating what you could almost call a tale of two different markets. We're seeing wildly different outcomes depending on where you look.
How different are we talking? Well, just look at this. In 1 month, Perth values shot up by 2.4% and Brisbane by 1.9%. Meanwhile, the huge, more expensive markets of Sydney and Melbourne barely budged. It's like the mid-sized capitals are playing a totally different game.
Let's put that in real money terms. Perth's 2.4% jump added over $21,000 to the median home value in a single month. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. That's about $5,000 a week. It just shows you the incredible momentum in some of these markets.
So what's behind this massive gap? It all comes back to one of those key tailwinds we talked about, supply. In Perth, the number of homes on the market is a whopping 40% below the long-term average. In Sydney, it's only 2.2% below. Fewer houses for sale means more competition and prices go up faster. It really is that simple.
Okay, so this all leads us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? What's next for prices? With this crazy tug-of-war going on and this clear divide across the country, what does the future actually hold? So, as we head into 2026, which side is going to win this thing? Will the brakes of extreme unaffordability finally grind the market to a halt, or will that accelerator of low supply just keep on winning?
While the forecast from the experts is for continued growth through 2026, but there's a catch. Those affordability headwinds, they're probably going to act like a ceiling, slowing everything down and stopping the kind of runaway price hikes we've been seeing in cities like Perth.
And that leaves us with the critical question for the entire Australian housing market. With affordability already stretched to its absolute breaking point, how much higher can prices really go? You know, the laws of supply and demand are powerful, but so are people's budgets. At some point, something's got to give. The great tug-of-war is far from over.